Maria's heart raced as she placed the last dish on the dinner table. The aroma of fried plantain and spicy jollof rice filled the air, mingling with the scent of the fresh flowers she had arranged earlier. Everything had to be perfect tonight. Her husband, Daniel, was coming home earlier than usual, and he had promised they would spend the evening together. For Maria, moments like these meant everything. Married for 4 years, she believed she had found her dream man. Daniel was charming, successful, and kind, or so she thought. He had swept her off her feet with sweet words and gentle touches, making her feel like the luckiest woman alive. She wore the ring he had given her with pride, and whenever she looked at him, she saw her forever. But on this particular evening, something tugged at her chest. A strange uneasiness she could not explain. She shook her head, forcing a smile. "Don't be silly, Maria," she whispered to herself. "He loves you. You are his wife." Just as she lit the last candle on the table, her phone buzzed. She picked it up and frowned. A message from an unknown number blinked on the screen. "Check the truth about your husband before it's too late." Maria's breath caught. Her eyes darted over the words again. Her first instinct was to delete the message, but her hand trembled. Who would send her something like that? Was it a scammer? A jealous friend? Or could it be something real? Her thoughts scattered as she heard the sound of Daniel's car pulling into the driveway. Quickly, she set the phone aside and smoothed her dress, choosing to ignore the strange message. When Daniel stepped into the house, looking as handsome as ever in his navy blue suit, Maria's heart skipped. "Wow, this looks amazing," he said, taking in the decorated table. He kissed her forehead. "You didn't have to go through all this trouble." "I wanted to," she replied softly. "We don't spend much time together these days. I thought tonight could be special." Daniel smiled, but Maria noticed his eyes flicker toward his phone almost immediately. He excused himself, muttering something about an urgent work message. Maria forced herself to ignore it. She told herself not to ruin the evening with suspicion. They ate together, laughing at small jokes, but Maria couldn't shake the uneasiness growing inside her. Every time Daniel's phone buzzed, he would quickly glance at it, sometimes hiding the screen from her. It gnawed at her. Later that night, after Daniel had fallen asleep, Maria reached for his phone. Her hands trembled as she hesitated. She had never gone through his things before, but that message from earlier and his behavior tonight pushed her beyond her limits. Slowly, she unlocked his phone with the code she had seen him use countless times. The screen came alive, and what she found shattered her world. There were messages, hundreds of them, from a woman saved as "sweetheart." Maria's eyes widened as she scrolled. The words pierced her heart like knives. "I can't wait to see you again, baby. Last night was unforgettable. When are you leaving her?" Her chest tightened. "Leaving her?" she whispered. Her throat got dry. She read more messages, each one worse than the last. The woman asked Daniel when he would make their relationship official, and Daniel replied with promises of love, of a future together. Maria's whole body shook. She dropped the phone on the bed and covered her mouth to keep from crying out loud. She thought about their wedding day, about the vows he had made. Were those lies too? The next morning, Maria pretended everything was normal. Daniel kissed her cheek before leaving for work, unaware of the storm raging inside her. The moment the door closed behind him, Maria collapsed into tears. Hours later, unable to contain her confusion, she called her best friend, Anita. "Anita, I don't know what to do. Maria saw messages on Daniel's phone. He's cheating on me." There was silence on the other end of the line. Then Anita's voice came, low and hesitant. "Maria, I've been meaning to tell you something." Maria's heart thudded. "What is it?" Anita hesitated again. "I didn't know how to bring it up because I didn't want to hurt you, but I've seen Daniel with another woman. Not just once, more than twice. They were holding hands in public. He didn't look like a man sneaking around. He looked proud." The room spun around Maria. She felt like the air had been sucked out of her lungs. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I was scared you wouldn't believe me," Anita said softly. "I thought maybe I was mistaken. But Maria, I think that woman isn't just a fling. She might be his real partner." Maria's mind went blank. Her real partner? That didn't make sense. She was his wife. She had the marriage certificate, the ring, the memories. She was the one who cooked for him, prayed with him, built a home with him. But as the words settled in her mind, a cold fear gripped her. What if everything she believed about her marriage was a lie? That evening, Maria couldn't hide her pain any longer. She confronted Daniel. "Who is she?" she asked, holding up his phone. Daniel froze. For a moment, she thought he would deny it, but instead, his face darkened. "Why did you get that?" "I saw the messages," Maria said, her voice breaking. "You told her you loved her. You told her you would leave me. How could you do this to me, Daniel?" He sighed heavily, running his hand through his hair. "Maria, it's complicated." "No!" she snapped, tears running down her cheeks. "It's not complicated. You are married to me. I am your wife." That was when Daniel said the words that shattered her completely. "Maria, you're not my wife." Her world stopped. She stared at him, unable to breathe. "What do you mean?" Daniel avoided her gaze. "The woman you saw in those messages, she's my legal wife. You are the one on the side." Maria's knees buckled and she grabbed the edge of the table to keep from falling. No, that's not true. You married me, Daniel. I have the certificate, the ring, everything." Daniel shook his head. "I never registered our marriage. What we had was just a ceremony. It wasn't official. You were never legally my wife." The words echoed in Maria's mind like thunder. She felt like her heart had been ripped out of her chest. Everything she believed, every dream she had built, crumbled in an instant. "You lied to me," she whispered. Daniel tried to reach for her, but she pulled back, her tears blinding her. The man she thought was her husband, her forever, had never really been hers. She was not the wife, she was the side chick, and her whole life was about to change.
Hi besties, welcome to Tales by Ella. If you have not subscribed to our channel, I don't know what you are waiting for. Please subscribe and leave a like for us. It means the world to us. Also share this video to your friends and loved ones and turn on post notifications so you don't miss future videos from us. Thank you as you do so. Sit back and relax as we dive into the story. Maria couldn't sleep that night. The words Daniel had spoken echoed in her mind like a cruel song she couldn't turn off. "You're not my wife. She's my legal wife. You're just the one on the side." Each word cut deeper than the last. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, her body stiff, her eyes swollen from crying. She wanted to believe it was a nightmare, that she would wake up and everything would be back to normal. But the certificate she once clung to, the vows she thought were sacred, were now exposed as empty promises. When morning came, Maria dragged herself out of bed. Her reflection in the mirror startled her. Her eyes were red, her lips pale, and her usually radiant face was drained of life. She barely recognized herself. "How could I be so blind?" she whispered, touching her face as if trying to comfort herself. "How did I let him play me like this?" Daniel was already gone when she walked into the living room. His side of the wardrobe had fewer clothes. His presence already felt distant, as though he had chosen which wall to belong to, and it wasn't hers. The ringing of her phone startled her. It was Anita. "Maria, are you okay?" Anita's voice was gentle, filled with concern. "No, Anita, I'm not okay. He told me everything. He said he's not my wife. I was never his wife. He has another woman, and she's the legal one." There was silence on the other end of the line before Anita finally said, "Maria, I am so sorry. I don't even know what to say. But you need to be strong. You cannot let this break you." But how could she not break? Maria felt like her whole identity had been stolen. For 4 years, she had introduced herself as Mrs. Daniel Adewale. For 4 years, she had poured her heart into building a home with him. Now, she felt like nothing but an imposter. As the day dragged on, Maria made a decision. She needed answers. She couldn't sit in her house drowning in confusion while Daniel lived a double life. She needed to see this woman. She needed to know who she was competing with. With shaky hands, she called a cab and gave the driver an address she had found in Daniel's messages. Her heart pounded as the car pulled up in front of a beautiful duplex on the other side of town, the kind of house that screamed wealth and stability. Maria's legs trembled as she stepped out. She hesitated, but her anger pushed her forward. She knocked on the door. Moments later, the door opened and a woman appeared. She was stunning, tall, elegant, with glowing skin and a confidence that made Maria instantly feel small. She wore a silk robe, her hair neatly tied back, and a curious look filled her face as she examined Maria. "Yes? Can I help you?" asked the woman, her voice cool but firm. "My name is Maria, and I need to talk to you about Daniel." Her eyes flickered, but her expression remained calm. "You mean my husband?" The words stung like fire. Maria's chest tightened. She wanted to scream, but her voice came out broken. "Your husband?" "No, he's my husband." The woman laughed, a sharp sound that cut through the air. "Your husband? Oh dear, you must be confused. Daniel is legally married to me. I am Mrs. Adewale." Maria felt her knees weaken, but she gripped the doorframe to steady herself. No, that's not possible. We had a wedding. We exchanged vows. I have a certificate." "Do you? Or do you have a piece of paper Daniel created to deceive you? Because, let me be clear, I have the real documents. The law recognizes me. Society recognizes me. You're just the other woman." The words burned and tears welled in Maria's eyes. "I didn't know," she whispered. I thought I was his wife." The woman smirked, crossing her arms. "Well, now you know. And if I were you, I'd stop embarrassing yourself. Whatever Daniel told you, understand this. He belongs here, with me. Always has, always will." Maria couldn't take it anymore. She turned and stumbled back to the waiting cab, her vision blurred by tears. Every word the woman had spoken replayed in her head, twisting the knife deeper. On the ride home, she pressed her forehead against the window, her heart breaking all over again. She wasn't just betrayed, she was humiliated. When she got home, Daniel was waiting. He stood in the living room, his expression unreadable. "You went to see her, didn't you?" Maria's eyes flared. "How dare you, Daniel? How dare you play with my life like this? For 4 years you let me believe I was your wife. You let me give you everything I had. My love, my loyalty, my body, my time, and all the while, I was nothing but your side chick." Daniel's face hardened. "I never meant for you to find out this way." "Oh, how thoughtful of you. You wanted me to stay in the dark forever, living in your shadow while you played house with your real wife." Silence filled the room. Maria's breathing was heavy, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Daniel's eyes dropped to the floor, and for the first time, Maria saw guilt flicker across his face. But it was too late. That night, Maria packed a small bag. She couldn't stay in the house anymore. Every corner reminded her of lies, of betrayal, of stolen dreams. She needed space to breathe, to think, to heal. She called Anita again. "Can I stay with you for a while?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Of course, Maria. Come over right away. You don't deserve this. You need to be around people who love you." Maria arrived at Anita's place just before midnight. As she lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, her heart ached. She thought about the years she had wasted, the love she had given freely, and the shame of realizing she had never truly been a wife. But beneath the pain, a tiny spark ignited. She didn't know how, but one thing was clear. She wouldn't let this be the end of her story. If Daniel thought she would remain broken, he was wrong. Because Maria was about to discover a strength she never knew she had.
The days that followed were the hardest Maria had ever lived through. At Anita's apartment, she drifted like a shadow, staring at walls, staring at her phone, staring at memories that cut like knives. Daniel tried calling her several times, but she refused to pick up. She had nothing left to say to him. Each time the screen lit up with his name, anger boiled in her chest. She would press decline and toss the phone aside. Her heart still ached, but slowly something inside her shifted. She realized she had a choice. She could drown in pain, or she could rebuild herself from the ruins. One evening, Anita sat beside her on the couch. "Maria, listen. You can't keep letting him control your emotions. He's already taken enough from you. Don't give him the power to destroy your future too." Maria wiped her tears. "But what do I do, Anita? He made me believe I was his wife. Now I feel like a fool. Everyone will laugh at me." "No one will laugh at you," Anita said firmly. "And even if they do, so what? You are not defined by his lies. You are Maria. Strong, beautiful, intelligent Maria. The only mistake you made was trusting the wrong man. But that is not the end of your story." Those words planted a seed in Maria's heart. That night, she stood in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at herself. For the first time in weeks, she looked into her own eyes and said, "You are more than his side chick. You are more than his betrayal. You are more." And something inside her believed it. The next morning, Maria took a walk to clear her head. The cool breeze brushed against her skin, and for once she felt free. She began to think about all the dreams she had abandoned for Daniel. The bakery she had always wanted to start, the trips she never took, the education she put on hold. She realized that while Daniel had stolen her past, she could still take back her future. That week, Maria visited a lawyer with Anita's support. She explained everything: how Daniel had staged a fake wedding, how he deceived her, how he used her. The lawyer listened carefully and promised to look into what could be done legally. When Maria left the office, she felt lighter. For the first time, she wasn't just crying about the betrayal. She was fighting back. But the real turning point came when Daniel showed up at Anita's apartment, unannounced. Maria had just finished preparing a simple dinner when the doorbell rang. She opened the door and there he was, Daniel, looking tired and desperate. "Maria, please," he said, his voice cracking. "We need to talk." Maria crossed her arms, standing tall. "There's nothing left to talk about. Please hear me out." His eyes pleaded. "I didn't mean for things to happen this way. I love you, Maria. You're the one I want to be with. She may be my legal wife, but she doesn't make me feel alive the way you do." Maria's jaw clenched. His words, once sweet to her ears, now sounded like poison. "Do you even hear yourself, Daniel? You're telling me you love me while you still live with her? You want me to remain in the shadows, content with stolen moments? No, not anymore." He stepped closer, his hand reaching for hers. "We can fix this. I'll find a way to make you my wife officially. Just give me time." Maria pulled her hand back sharply. "Do you know what I realized, Daniel? I don't need to be your wife to have value. I don't need to cling to crumbs of your affection when I deserve the whole table. You lied to me, used me, and left me in shame. And you think I'll still choose you?" Daniel's face twisted with regret. "Maria, please, don't throw us away." "There was no us, Daniel," she said, her voice steady and strong. "There was only me, loving a lie." Tears gathered in his eyes, but Maria didn't waver. She closed the door firmly in his face and locked it. For the first time, she felt in control. When she turned around, Anita was standing there, her face glowing with pride. "That's my girl," she whispered. That night, Maria didn't cry. She slept peacefully, as though a heavy burden had finally lifted. Over the next few months, Maria rebuilt herself piece by piece. She enrolled in a short business course, determined to learn how to run her bakery. She saved up little by little with Anita's encouragement and began selling small pastries from home. To her surprise, people loved them. Orders started coming in from neighbors, then from friends of friends, and soon Maria realized her dream was becoming real. Every time she needed dough, every time she pulled golden loaves out of the oven, she felt alive. She was no longer the broken woman begging for Daniel's love. She was Maria, the woman with her own vision, her own strength, her own future. Daniel tried reaching out again, but Maria never answered. She didn't need his apologies or empty promises.
She had already forgiven him in her heart, not for his sake, but for her own peace. But forgiveness didn't mean going back. Forgiveness meant letting go completely. One sunny afternoon, as she stood in her small but growing bakery, surrounded by the smell of fresh bread and laughter from satisfied customers, Maria smiled. She had found herself again. She thought back to the day she discovered the truth. The night she learned she was never the wife, only the side chick. It had felt like the end of her life. But now she realized it was the beginning. Because sometimes life has to break you before it shows you who you really are. Maria was no longer defined by Daniel's lies. She was defined by her strength to rise. And rise, she did. Thanks for watching this interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. See you all in my next video.